Oh, hello people, and welcome back to part 23 of the build guide 2. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Thank you so much for all support. Really fun times putting this infrastructure together, and it's nice to keep slowly filling out this island, and of course a ton of new content has arrived this week. And what I'd like to do today actually is going to be something of a kind of renovation episode. I want to do something with this here to create sort of a community football ground, sort of exactly the place I used to go to when I was a kid. And then I want to do like a suburban kind of like football centre, like where there's a sort of stadium but also some training facilities nearby as well, not like a major arena sort of thing. And then also some cute sort of Australian and cricket pitches around some old suburbia in Nubio, so we can maybe get some actual baseball pitches in now right up there besides this sort of stuff. But either way, one of the best content creator packs, this one, Bad Peanut's done a wonderful job. Let's have some fun with sports venues, shall we? Okay, so got a little bit of area here in the city and want to make a little sports complex. So I used to come to these places all the time. You'd call them sort of greens or cages or sometimes sports villages as well. And you'd come here with your friends on a Saturday afternoon and play like five-a-side, or if you're with somebody you didn't particularly like, you could play a game of Red Arse and try and hit them with the ball, which is always fun. But, you know, something like this. So let's go ahead and dive into the wonderful world of these little sports fields in Bad Peanut. And we want this one right here. The small soccer field is going to be appropriate for me. So the orientation, as always, is going to be super key here. And these assets are just great, aren't they? Look at this. Thank you so much, Bad Peanut. This has been sorely missing from the game. Of course, there's some great assets on the workshop, but have it in the unmodded experience now is fantastic. And they do have pathways on them, so I think we will actually replace the railside pathway we put in last episode with this new football pathway, if you like. Cool, so that's pretty nice, isn't it? I think I'm going to be on board with that. So let's see exactly how far we are out here. So we want 360. Let's do 400 here, and we'll probably save a space in the middle for a bit of a pathway to mooch through if we can. I don't think that would be out of the question, would it? So we'll amend these holding frames in a second as well, because I don't want this much road in the area. So we can bring the road down to there for the asset to still register its connection, which saves us a little bit more room. Because I would like to bring these together up here. That has given us some perfect poor man's surface painter, hasn't it? Yes, please, everyone. Look at that. Absolutely wonderful. Very satisfying. Cool, okay, and we've got some 4 deep spaces here as well, haven't we? So why don't we get some car parking in? At the time of recording this video, the car parking is bugged for console. I'm very sorry to say that, guys, but yes, it is currently bugged. You can only get the multi-story units here. What a shame, but great, hopefully you'll have it soon. But for the rest of us who are in the vanilla experience, vanilla parking is here. And how easy is that now? Every time we need a bit of parking. Yes, please. Fantastic. That view down to the mountains now and the little medium density skyline that's grown up here. Absolutely love it. Oh, again, just another pack that's totally reinvigorated my love for the game again. And I was already so in love with it off of the hype of skyscrapers and plazas. It's just... what a wonderful game, everyone. What a wonderful game. Okay, so I've just moved everything down a little bit so we can try and accommodate the next asset here, which is going to be the community soccer park. Which is still just a little bit of the ways off, isn't it? So let's see if we can perhaps relocate the entrance here. We could actually bring it out of this way, because it's going to be super walkable. I can't imagine there's actually going to be many people driving to this. So I think that's going to be a good solution. And then we can lose this one over here, and then we can just reposition our parking now around the new frame. And why don't we go for a little bit of a fancy road here to highlight the sort of main building of the sports village, if we like, if we can call it that. Let's go for super nice looking building, this one. So we can squeeze it in there. I think actually the solution here maybe is to not have the side road at all and then bring this right up next to our road. And we can actually delete the road and save the connection, and hopefully that's a path node, isn't it? Yes it is. So we can actually just connect the path in, which will make it look a little bit more official, hopefully. Okay, maybe actually mimic what's going on there. A little bit of extra node usage, but we're in a 25 tile build, we should be okay. Famous last words, of course, as Orchid Bay crashes into its no limit. So why don't we use some of the new Mr. Amazing trees? Let's go ahead and get some California shorties in there as well. It's going to be great for me. Look at that, right? How cool. How wonderful is this? Just realistic assets are such a massive improvement to the vanilla experience, I think I've found. Is why I'm so happy with what's going on this week. Cool, and maybe a larger one here as well. And the smaller one will fit in perfectly. Could also do some over here as well, which I think we will. Yes, I will. I think we'll do that. And then we can extend that little vanilla pathway now, just down here. Let's hit the same guidelines as the train bridge, so we get that equal path. There we go. And then that can go all the way down and into various different directions as well. Fantastic. Cool, so we get some trees around here during a daytime time-lapse, and some bushes as well, but for a little suburban sports village that sits off a main road in a main junction, this is exactly the sort of thing you'd see in the UK, right? Sort of a collection of smaller sub-5-a-side pitches, if you like, alongside a larger main 11-a-side pitch. Just wonderful. I love them. Really cool. This is a great asset as well, isn't it? Nice shape on it, a little bit of a stand in that one as well. Wonderful thought stuff. Alright, so let's go ahead now and build a little bit of a larger sort of, maybe regional team stadium. So there's a little spot over by Karen that I think could do with a bit of redeveloping. And we've got some sort of chunky infrastructure around here, right, with a police station, which is currently turned off, and bus station, commercial, big piers, lots of people. Like, it's kind of medium density here, right, isn't it? So I think an accompanying medium density build on the opposite side of the couplet, sort of interchange here, it would work quite nicely. So we're only going to lose a little bit of European suburbia, which is absolutely fine. It's not like this is a major build. So these people are being evicted in the name of football. So let's bring this road down, trim all this back. So we do have a little bit of an embankment here that the couplet is sat on, and I think it would be a nice way to kind of accentuate the layer by having this stadium sat that little bit lower than the road. So we'll definitely take advantage of the orientation of the stadium against that, because that'll give us such a nice little sight line. And then we're going to keep this little embankment here as well, allow it to shade the rail from it as well. There's going to be a lot of football going on to rail incidents in Orchard Bay by the end of today, just because of where we're building them. Okay, so since this is kind of like a regional stadium, I'm kind of thinking maybe League 1 or League 2 here, not like a major sort of arena. I want to come in with a fancy road, and why don't we go with some large avenue with bus lanes? I think this would be quite spicy, because we do have some bus activity nearby. So let's just bring it in and have a look at the size of the stadium first. So it's the first one I want to use, this one right here, the City Soccer Stadium. We've also got the Medium Soccer Stadium as well. Which one do we prefer? I'll have to have a little look at both, I think the City Soccer Stadium is a little bit too large for what I'm envisioning. Sort of driving past the Medium Soccer Stadium here. This is the one I'm more thinking of. So I think we'll go with this one as well. Cool, so let's get rid of you. Wonderful. And then we will bring this here as well. We also have Cycle Highway here as well, so why don't we see if we can maybe add something like a National Cycling Centre in. I know there's sort of a vibe with that near the Etihad Stadium in East Manchester, for those that are familiar with it. Cool, so we'll bring that down, have an exit off our cycle lane directly into the stadium. And again, the vibe I want here is when we look from the bird's eye view, I want to see that there is the stadium itself where the first team plays their league matches and stuff like that. And then I also want like a sub facility sat somewhere within this box here, that will let us have some fun with the smaller sort of training pitches. So because the shape of this asset that we used earlier, the community soccer park, is so unique, I definitely want to try and just back them up onto each other so we can see what's going to happen. And we'll definitely continue to use this bus road here for a minute, because bus lines are going through here, right? Yes, back and forth, we can make use of both directions. And this road here probably wants to become 4-lane with bus as well, I imagine. Something like that should do us, and then we'll loop it around in a second. Let's get that one in, and then we know that the holding road next to this one, once it's in at the right place, will hold that final asset. So it looks something like that, I think, is what we're initially trying to receive, and then we will find a little place for this one to come in. But a little dirt road here actually would be very reflective of kind of lower league. Definitely would. Sort of like churned up mud as you're driving through to the car parks and whatnot. Definitely not as sort of landscaped or pristine arenas and training grounds as the sort of Premier League teams have, if you like. Okay. But that's a nice little configuration there for a park area, isn't it? All those angles and different layers now and ramps. Great assets. So good. So good. Oh, I don't know, does the dirt road stand out? I'm not entirely sure. That'll probably be decided in the detail and time-lapse, I think. Once I take a good hard look at it, if you like. Cool, so that's fine. So as we move away from the arenas, we will just move back down into that 4-lane road with bus. We'll also bring this up out here as well. And we can bring it in, hopefully on a nicer curve than that. Okay, on hindsight, I'm now envisioning how I want this to exactly appear here. I think we're going to do this one a couple of tiles over to create a road crossing in front of the stadium, which we will move here in a minute. We're going to bring this little road down. I'm going to switch out to just some sidewalk roads. We'll repeat those measurements as well to go 400. And then I want to move the stadium over now to sit with that pedestrian crossing. So people can now kind of make use of these impressive walkways and stop at the bus stops here to get directly in and out of the stadium. And of course we'll go for the same palms down the middle here as well. Cool, so that's much nicer. I'm much happier with that. Lots of pathways to link people through here now as well, of course, which will work out nicely. And that's going to be another great little complex, isn't it? Let's get those buses flowing, first of all. Go ahead and get bus line. So we've got the brown line coming out of Karen, haven't we? So you will come up here after you have come down to the game and stop there. That's going to be good. And then this white bus line will come out of here. Does stop there, doesn't it? Okay, then we will remove the stop there. And instead you will come through the football area. Stopping here as well. There is also a pink line here, but I think just the brown and the white buses coming up should be enough, I think. And then maybe we can have just some little rock decorations in the middle of our little cycle ramp here. A couple of little trees in there as well, perhaps. Cool, that should just see that little complex come together, shouldn't it? Don't mind that, lots of parking to be got in here as well. Bit of fencing and whatnot. Of course we use our new suburban fencing. Really can't wait to use that. It's going to be best part of the update, mate. And of course, with a stadium this size, you'd expect a decent bit of parking. So let's see what we can do with our first bit of sort of mass repeated vanilla parking now, and just see what it looks like. See if we enjoy ourselves with it. So again, we could bring this one up here, but there's no point really. It's actually 4 tiles, so that's perfect for squeezing in those vanilla car parks, isn't it? We could go for a multi-story. I think multi-story is a bit high density for what I'm after here. I don't think a League 2 ground would have a multi-story, would it? Can we get in there? We do lose. Oh no, no we can't. that's too much, isn't it? That's fine though, of course we can just use the smaller ones to fill the space that we can't fill ourselves. Have that on there, and then how are we feeling about that? Do we maybe want another block of it? We could definitely get it up, and I think that actually would kind of see us up to that train boundary again, wouldn't it? And then lots of sort of trees and overgrowth around here to separate it away as a facility, of course, will help us. So now we can enjoy that elevated view of the facility from the couplet road for the first time, which is really fun, isn't it? Great little suburban addition that alongside our sort of main infrastructure here as we get off the couplet system. That's going to be really fun. And buses helping serve it as well, which would be nice. Very cool. We could put a little bus hub in here as well if we wanted to, but I think this will be alright. Cool. So we can come back and detail this during the time lapse. Now let's head out to the suburbia over this way. Let's see if we can find some places for a pitch. So we used to have a little school campus here, which I think we're going to redevelop now into something a bit more fancier and with one of the sports fields. Exactly what sport this high school plays will depend on how much room they have on their lot, I guess. So I think the Institute of Creative Arts from Green Cities would be a good shout here. I mean, nice sort of important asset to face onto our road, isn't it? I really love this asset. There's also a sat opposite Green City's housing, so this is actually a pretty perfect area for it, isn't it? So hopefully some busy trams coming through here as well. How's this tram line doing now? We haven't checked this one for a little bit. It's not too bad. Trams are nice and busy, but there is still plenty of empty trams and spaces, so definitely doesn't need an upgrade yet. Cool, so love that. I probably don't want it connected off of the couplet road. I'd rather people use the interchange or the other road to get into the campus itself. So we will delete that. And then let's see what's available. So we've already used football. Let's try and use a different sport here. The community Australian pitch is a chungus, isn't it? That is a thick boy. So we can place in a little American football field here, which I feel would partner the high school quite nicely, right? Oh, I love these assets. Just, oh my god, it's so nice to see City Skylines just getting better and better, everyone, isn't it? It really is. Cool, so we're going to have to lose the petrol station now, which is okay. And it looks like we even have to, well, we don't, because we can just spin this around, can't we? Yeah, let's have it here then. And we'll rotate them around. At least we have the room to fill. And then definitely keen to see some proper parking alongside the school now, which will be exciting, won't it? We've also got the birthday plaza, which is kind of horrible, but still is no asset, right? It's a massive cake. Can't see us using that too often, but maybe we'll find a space for it somewhere, right? Cool, I think I'm happy with this, and then we'll actually wrap the road up and around the back of the school, if at all possible. And then we've got a little room here for some zoning, so I think what we will do is try and wait for some tasteful, more favourite commercial assets to come in to help complement the football field. I think I'm going to be on board with that. Happy with the bookstore here as well. Would be nice if we get that petrol station again though. And I think we had this all fenced off last time, and what we will do now is just kind of open up this back end of the stadium into sort of like a rear entrance into the high school complex, if you like. Again, it's going to take a little refining to get the assets that we do want here. But okay, do you actually maybe want to go for the other American football stadium? The suburban one? How much of a difference are we really looking at between the two? I think I do prefer the suburban one, don't I? I think the community one maybe belongs in a little bit more of a sort of built up area, almost like the American equivalent of sort of like one of these over here, right? Yes, we'll see. But I think that's pretty cute. I think I'm pretty happy with that. Alright, so of course we'll come back and detail this in our time-lapse and get the right assets in and reinstate a little tree line and pathway entrance into our school here as well. We've also got to reinstate the elevated pathway as well. But that's nice, and then there's one thing I'd like to go and do, and I think this is to replace this schoolyard detailing with the actual baseball pitch now, so we don't have to sketch them in with the parkline paths anymore. So let's get rid of what's going on here, and then we'll also need to kill a little bit of pathway here, or fence, so we can place them down. And then let's have the community baseball field. How's that? Is that better? Do we prefer this? Oh, I can just squeeze a road in there too. Yes, please. That is one of the best examples ever of if it fits, it sits, actually. And would you look at that? We're 4 tiles deep, are we? Oh, we are 4 tiles deep. Yes, please, everyone. This wasn't planned. I promise this bit wasn't planned. This was, I was like, we'll go and upgrade that old pitch, but a little bit of parking and some stuff in there, and I think we can definitely maybe bring in some of those bench vibes again. For people wanting to spectate, do we maybe want to upgrade to our suburban fence around here too? I think we'll try some new suburban fencing, everyone. We'll put this around a few of the builds today, but we'll see how it performs here. I'm going to bring it up as like a school border. I think maybe those live oaks were a little bit dominant last time, weren't they? So why don't we go for... Don't use the palms here, we're not particularly tropical. How about these numbers? He says as he then picks an African tree, which is probably a little bit more tropical than palms, isn't it? Okay. Yeah, that's much nicer, isn't it? How cool. How cool is that? Now I got a little baseball field in the middle of our suburb. Very swanky, sits opposite the school there. Imagine the school's going to get some broken windows, isn't it? But wonderful scenes, right? I love that. So cool. This game is absolutely tremendous. And let's go ahead and throw in some jacarandas. Why not? Make the car park nice and slippery, cover everyone's car in pink blossom come the summer. And let's go for a coconut palm. If we do go for the coconut palm, I guess the people would be hitting the baseballs at the coconuts, which would then drop down onto people's heads, making it a pretty lethal score. Maybe the syllabus here was put together by someone from the ILOS Education Institute. Cool, but I love that, right? That looks so much better. I love that. Right, but either way, let's start forming. I need to just stop being so happy about this. let's detail up all these little new sites across Orca Bay today, and then we'll be right back. Alright guys, let's have a little detailing review, shall we? So our little sports village here has been rounded off with a bit of that new suburban fence and some of the thorn trees as a little border around the edge of it, which turned out really nicely. What a great combination that is, right? Really love the new fence. It gets the OE fence seal of approval, I guess, right? So this carries on around all the way around, and then switch out the trees for some of the amber ones with some bushes against our community stadium with car parking, and also dropped in a couple of restrooms as well, which of course is sort of handy. You could even treat them as changing rooms, I suppose, if you wanted to. Just so you've got some changing room facilities near the pitches. And then our walkable railside pathway is continuing down here now. There's really nice people walking up and down it. It's just so good. A bit of trees over here. Just totally in love with this area of Orchard Bay, the way it's turned out with the fields and little sports village here as part of our suburbia designs as we carry on moving over this way. Of course, it's just tremendous amounts of fun to build. Really fun little modular projects. And then over at our lower league regional stadium, we have added in a bit of overgrowth and fencing, that nice little bicycle loop coming back down here again too, with more of that fencing and repeated tree patterns around the entrance into the stadium. Unfortunately, not many people using the path in the middle, which is kind of why I wanted that road, but whatever. We are still getting uses on the bus roads, of course. Let's see one coming right there, which is just absolutely wonderful. And then, yeah, just people moving around here now. Move this one over, a little bit of repeated tree pattern, some path work, just to highlight all the sort of areas here. And dropped in a statue. Maybe this can be the emblem of the team, maybe the Orchid Moons or whatever you want to call them, right? And then this carries on around the opposite side and some overgrowth, where we've also allowed that overgrown belt to take over the rail banking here before another entrance onto the cycle highway makes itself known, which we will flatten this out. Like, this area is going to change once we bring in a highway road over this way. But yes, we definitely will straighten all this out so it's not as bumpy as that, right? we'll do that at some point once we develop this interchange so it all sort of ties together with the cycle network. But it's really nice, really love this facility. It's got a great bird's eye perspective again with all the football pitches around it, and it's just filled a really nice bit of sort of medium density build again here, hasn't it? As we sort of drive past it on our couplet interchange. Super happy with it, really enjoyed it. Also some retaining wall rocks down here again as well against that little drop in elevation. So super happy with that. You know, look how busy this bus is here as well. It's a super busy boy, isn't it? Let's see if we need more vehicles on you, possibly. So 450 people. That's out here, what the hell? That is a busy one, isn't it? Perhaps a sign of some metro needed eventually to come support this area now. Look at all that. Busy bus stop, busy public transit, right? Yeah, maybe we do need to think about a sort of main street metro that's going to run down this road now to support those very busy buses into downtown, of course, because this is only going to get busier as we keep heading further down this way. And then lastly, our little suburban build has been tiled up here again with some benches and fencing, waiting for some appropriate assets to come in next to our football pitch, with a little info booth in here again as well. And then wrapped the back of the road around the school with some more retaining wall rocks. And then just some nice flowers and trees as it comes back on. Where it has here, I didn't want to bring this elevation back on again. It kind of looked a little bit just sort of too weird. So just a simple little footpath connection back onto the tram stop, where you then can access an elevated walkway if you so choose. So that's turned out really nicely. And then, yeah, just I love the way sort of the approach into this building now looks like a much more significant campus, and big shout out to the addition of those lights and actual football decals all on the pitch now. It just makes it a much more realistic space, doesn't it? Really tremendously improved the vanilla game. And then we'll have one last look at our little baseball area over here. It does have a little baseball pitch now with some parking and a school, so just, again, you don't really need to go to the effort of drawing those sort of path baseball pitches anymore. If you've got the room for one of them, then you can squeeze it in alongside a campus and you've just got a little simple school park ready to go. So yeah, it's really nice to have these sports complexes available in Orchard Bay. I hope you've enjoyed sort of having a look at them today. Otherwise, guys, that is going to do it for today. I'd like to thank you all so much for watching. If you've enjoyed it, likes, comments and shares below really do help me out. Equally as much if you haven't enjoyed it, please feel free to leave a dislike as well. Don't forget you can pick up Bad Peanuts sports venues on Instant Gaming down below once it's in stock. When it's new, they tend to come in and out pretty often just because of high demand. But they are an absolute ton of fun. Thoroughly enjoyed piecing together these little facilities around the city today, and we'll definitely get involved in some of the bigger stuff as we go into high density. Let me know what sport you want to sort of occupy the downtown. We obviously kind of only have room for one of the major stadiums, So it's either going to be football, American football, or baseball. So let me know which one you would prefer. Please enjoy some brief cinematics, but otherwise I'll shut up and leave it there. Let's thank you all so much for watching. And as always, enjoy the rest of your day.